we talk obviously about the body slam, and obviously the whole storyline's built around, can Hulk Hogan body slam Andre the Giant? It's never happened before in the world of this story. That moment when the slam heard around the world, has still being replayed 35 years on. You were there at the time. Explain the gravity of that happening in 1987.
Well, again, people had forgotten. There were, I grew up as a wrestling fan, and I had a couple of buddies who were wrestling fans who were still my friends. We were wrestling fan buddies since childhood. And, all of us, because of the hype, because it was just pounded into us every week that Andre had never been body slammed. We knew he'd been body slammed, and we knew Hulk Hogan had body slammed. But because so many other things, we were now acclimated to WWE erasing history. Like, we knew that I wrote for the WWF magazine. I couldn't say that Harley Race was a 7-time or an 8-time world champion, because that's acknowledging the rivals. So but I could write, he's been a champion all over the world, which is accurate, but he's been an NWA champion, that I couldn't say. So now we're accepting Harley Race as the king. Even though we know he's the great Harley Race,
yeah.
The multiple NWA champion. So we're all kind of buying into the fiction like you're watching a movie. And so when Hogan, if you remember at the beginning of the match, Hogan goes to lift Andre, and Andre falls on top of him. Mm-hmm. And the referee, Joey Marella, Gorilla Monsoon's son, counts 1, 2, and he taps the mat a third time, and he's like, no, 2, 2, 2. And then, of course, that's used later on, saying, Bobby Heenan and Andre saying, well, we really beat him. And I remember being in an airport one day, and I used to chat with Joey Marella, and I truly believed that Joey Marella had screwed up, that he shouldn't have, that he was supposed to, pull his hand before he touched that mat the third time. And he was like late for a show or something. He was like complaining that he'd screwed up, he'd overslept or something. I was relaxed. He was wound up. But we were talking like friend to friend. And and he's long gone, so I can tell the story. I'm not violating any confidence now. He's passed away, unfortunately. His parents have both passed away. And I said, well, so did you get a lot of heat from Vince when you hit that mat the third time? And he was like, what are you, a crazy fan? Like, that's what I was supposed to do. That was 100% choreographed. And I'm like, well, I was caught up in it. I guess that's why, people in the office, especially like the suits, they would say, look at me and they'd go, oh, he's a crazy Mark. He's a crazy Mark. Like, I used to think I was impressing people when I would talk about wrestlers' backgrounds prior to the WWF, or I would talk about who their fathers were, and where they started out. And these guys would look at me like, tell that to someone who cares. Why don't you go sit out there with the other Marks, because you're one of them. I'm sure they'll talk to you about it all night.
Well, it's hilarious.
Which they would.
That still goes on now, because it's even. I remember when Cody Rhodes returned 3 years ago at WrestleMania, and I remember there being a line on commentary, probably Michael Cole, saying, he's been away from the WWE for 8 years. Will he have any ring rust? Like he hasn't been quite busy in the interim. It's like there is still
the
that
guy
element.
Worked every night from the Indies and then AEW.
Exactly. So I think there's still an element of, if it doesn't happen in the WWE, it doesn't happen anywhere.